Are powerful people and celebrities being replaced with lookalikes? Follow me down the rabbit hole about clones. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the rabbit hole. I'm your host, Danny, as always, and today we are talking about clones. So I want to thank DJ for suggesting this episode. When it was suggested, we talked about President Biden being a clone, and I'm gonna start with him because, there's a lot on the internet about him potentially being a clone, but I'm also, there's a lot of celebrities that have been accused of being clones. So now we're gonna just cover as many as possible because there's a lot of weird things going on. And I don't think I don't think I cover every single celebrity that has potentially been cloned. I definitely cover some big ones, some ones like the ones that have been in the news most recently for sure, and then a couple smaller ones as well. But yeah, let's get into it. So we're going to start with President Biden because he's our president. So, he is well photographed. If you don't know, they take a lot of pictures of the president because they like to photograph him and doing all these different things, right? When he's doing something good, when he's doing something bad, whatever, they're going to take a picture of him. So, there are many recordings of his voice because he gives speeches all the time. I mean, he's always giving speeches. And Biden's been a politician forever, right? So he's always been kind of known. I wouldn't say as well in the media as possible because a lot of our senators, some of them are in the media, but some of them are not. But he was also the vice president, so we have a lot of pictures of him and voice recordings of him for when he was the vice president. Now, don't get me wrong, dude ages, everybody ages. I get that. So I definitely included that. But there's some weird things going on with Biden. So, in these pictures that have been taken, it has been noticed by not just me, by lots of people, that he doesn't always look the same. He looks similar, but he doesn't always look the same. I'm going to start with his ears because I think his ears are probably the biggest example of what looks different. So, in some pictures, he has his earlobes are fully attached to his head, all the way down, fully attached. But in other pictures, his earlobes are detached. Now, this is something you are born with. You do not, this does not change in your life. You don't either, have attached or detached earlobes, and then they can change to being the opposite. Maybe you can do that with surgery, but that's not something that, that's not something that changes over time with age. You either have them always attached to your head or they're always not attached to your head. Just the earlobes, the rest of your ear obviously is attached to your head. So in earlier pictures of Biden, he has detached earlobes. Even in pictures from when he was a vice president and from when he was a young senator, he had detached earlobes. And now all of a sudden we're seeing pictures with attached earlobes. So, and I'll share some pictures on Instagram. But it's very apparent that it can't be the same person, or it's a mask. That there's just no way. You can't have detached earlobes your entire life and then all of a sudden every now and then have attached earlobes. And it's not all the time. Only sometimes does he have full, but they're fully attached. It's not maybe the camera angle was weird. Maybe, there's something strange going on. Also, his nose. So when you compare his 2012 picture, the bridge of his nose is straight. But now we're seeing the bridge, it kind of flares out. So it starts at the eyebrows and it kind of condenses in by the eyes and flares out at the bottom. Basically flare jeans, right? However, noses do change over time. And actually, ears change over time too. Your ears and your nose, they never stop growing. Those are the two things on your body that just continue to grow forever. The earlobes, being attached or detached, that's not going to change with age, but the size of his ear will change because it's just what it's going to be. Your nose will also continue to to grow. Well, the tip of your nose, typically as you get older, it will widen and droop over time as you lose like structure and support, just because like you're aging. And the nasal cartilage quality also decreases. These things put together will make your nose seem bulkier at the tip. Like just typically, like it'll make your like the tip of your nose seem bigger. But that's not really what we're seeing. What we're noticing with Biden is that like basically the tip of his nose is almost looking smaller. Like it's not looking bigger. When you are looking at the 2012 picture, and he has a very straight bridge. So from his eyebrow down to like, I don't know, like the entrance of the nostrils, basically where it flares out at the nostril, it's straight. Well, with this curvedness of his nose, sorry, I'm trying to I want to describe it to you without using a picture, because this is a podcast. It gets a little challenging sometimes, so please just bear with me. So when we're looking at the picture, it's a straight nose. The tip of his nose and where his nostrils flare out, it's bulkier. But when you're looking at the more recent pictures and he has the curvedness of his bridge, the tip of his nose and the nostrils are actually smaller than when it's a straight nose. And I don't know why that's I don't know. It's very strange. But you're noticing all these things in the same two pictures. I will post this on Instagram so you guys can see. It is definitely easier sometimes to just see the picture. But I feel like I'm doing an okay job describing it. You also have what's going on with his upper lip. So back in 2012, when he was vice president, his upper lip used to be really short. I don't want to say it was short. The distance between his upper lip and his nose was a shorter distance than what it is now. So when he smiled or talked, you could easily see his upper teeth because his upper lip wasn't covering so much of it. Well, now the length of his upper lip seems to have grown. So the lip covers the entire upper set of his teeth. So we only see the bottom teeth when he's talking or when he's just kind of sitting there. We see his bottom teeth, but we don't see his upper teeth at all, where we used to see his upper teeth.
Did you know that over 40% of Americans have a hard time swallowing pills? So when it's time to take your vitamins, large capsules and pills are out of the question. We know that gummy vitamins exist, but they're full of sugar, they get stuck in your teeth, and they only contain a fraction of the nutrients you need. Luckily, Easy Melts has discovered the ultimate vitamin sweet spot. Vitamins that melt in your mouth, taste like a treat, and are packed with nutrients ready for absorption, all without an ounce of sugar. For a limited time, Easy Melts is giving listeners a free 3-month supply of vitamin D3 with their first purchase. To claim your free D3 vitamins, visit try.easymelts.com/spring24. That's melts.com/spring24. Say goodbye to the old way of taking your vitamins and say hello to the easy way. Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona, menopause care made easy.
So these are some things that have been noticed by a lot of people. I'm not just making up a conspiracy here. Something weird is going on with our president. And he talks in different, we'll get there actually. I have that written down in a second. Let's go over the mask first. All over the internet, I'm sure you've seen the video by now. There's a video that's been circulating of Biden, or maybe somebody that's acting as Biden, wearing a mask. So he's talking to someone, and his back. I think it's the right side of his body. It's like his shoulder and his back are kind of more facing the camera than his front, because his front is facing whoever he's talking to. And he reaches up with like one finger, puts it in his collar, and scratches his neck. And you see all of his skin move as if he's wearing a mask. Now, personally, I cannot tell. This is going to sound really mean. I can't tell if it's a mask or if he's just like super old and his skin is just that baggy. If his skin is that baggy, then like, yeah, it's going to move. Like my skin doesn't move like that. When I mean, it moves, but it doesn't like stay. Like it is, the elasticity is still pretty good. So it like snaps back to wherever it's supposed to be. I don't know if he's just like super old or if he's wearing a mask. That is something that you for sure should. I linked to the video in the show notes. I would love for you to kind of like watch the video and make your own decision about this, because it's very odd and it could go either way. Honestly, I'm on the fence about it. I don't know if he's just old or if he's wearing a mask. It could go either way. So I want you guys, I'll put a poll on Instagram to like, do you think that Biden's wearing a mask, or like he's just got really old wrinkly skin? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not. It could be that it's just really old skin. Who knows? So the last thing that I wanted to cover was that some of the other clones have they all speak. At some point you have all these people speaking. There's so many different people that could potentially be Biden, and they're all like giving a speech for him, but the problem is their tone of voice, like they have different depths in different scenarios. So he seems very confused when he talks, or that he can almost like be reset. It's almost as if somebody's like controlling his mind, right? So he'll be like talking and then he'll start stuttering, and then all of a sudden he like clicks back in and we've seen this with a lot of celebrities actually, but he like clicks back in and he's like talking about something again. Or we've noticed like a lot of just confusedness from our president. And I'm not trying to get political. I'm just trying to put out what I've noticed. And I'm sure you've probably noticed as well. Everyone in the world has probably noticed the confused speech that we get from our president sometimes. But on top of that, we have these speeches where you can like put two speeches next to each other to like compare his voice. And because he's the president, right? So he's always on camera giving speeches. And in one of them, he'll be like talking normal, like the vice president or the president that we've come to know. And then in other speeches, he has like a drastically different depth, like deeper, like much deeper voice than he has in real life. I don't know. It's sometimes it's like it's too hard to recognize that it's even our president's voice. Like we can all recognize right now if they put on something that was like, oh, this is here, who do you think this is speaking? And you'd be like, oh, that's President Biden. Then they put on a different one, you're like, I don't know who that is. And it's also President Biden. So there's some weird things going on with him. I don't know if it's a clone, multiple clones, or people wearing his like a mask, like a face. I don't know. But something weird for sure is going on. Next, we have Kanye West. So I went a little deeper into this because I was trying to figure out, like, why are they replacing celebrities? Like, the president, we can kind of understand, like, maybe somebody else is trying to control the president. Like, there's so many reasons why they could clone him. That totally, like, we can get behind that. There's a million reasons. We can't go into all of them. So then with Kanye, I was like, well, what the heck? Like, why? Why did they clone him? Why do they need him? Basically, why didn't they just kill him? Is kind of like where my thought process is. Because, like, why are you going to go through all the effort to clone somebody instead of just killing them? I don't know. So Kanye has seemed to kind of like go off the deep end last year when he was posting like anti-Semitic statements, and basically he does whatever he wants. But he's like known for not being a quiet celebrity. He often stirs the pot. Like he brings stuff up. He's always like kind of in the limelight. Like he's not like a quiet guy. He's out there just doing whatever he wants all the time. You have like the year that Taylor Swift won like music video of the year, but he thought that it should be Beyonce. So he went on stage and like took the mic from Taylor Swift and like said that it should have been Beyonce. Like that was quite the controversy. He's known for stuff like this. It's not like he's just like just now starting to like speak out. He is just now starting to be very like anti-Semitic. So I don't know where that came from, but he's definitely being very verbal about maybe like a Jewish mafia or something like that. However, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and then placed on an involuntary psychiatric hold in 2016. And he was pretty open to the public about this. And at the time, I think like he was protected because of his marriage with a Kardashian, because he was married to Kim at the time. So him and Kim got a divorce in November of 2022, even though they filed about a year earlier than that. Their divorce wasn't fully finalized until November of 2022. So during this time, he was sharing all this anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. He would go on Tucker Carlson podcasts, different things all over the internet. He was sharing all these things, right? And this was after they had filed for divorce, but before they were finalized, like the divorce was finalized. And Kim kept like playing, I don't know, like peacemaker, where she would be like, oh, like he's just going through something, or like she would point back to his mental health. But I don't know. It's been kind of weird. But he's also been recorded saying things like, they can't control me, and if I ever go somewhere, you know why. And also, in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. He said that they can control Shaq, Charles Barkley, LeBron James, and even Jay-Z and Beyonce, but they can't control him. And he keeps pointing back to this, like they're controlling all these other people. They can't control me. I do what I want, kind of deal. And he brings it up a lot. He talks to the press about it. He talks to whoever will listen. He's like saying all these weird things where you're like, what the, like, why is he bringing all this up? He even said, like, his personal doctor was trying to have him hospitalized again. Like, during all this time when he's saying all these things, like, that they can't control him, his personal doctor was, like, calling and trying to get him hospitalized, trying to get him on an involuntary psychiatric hold again. I don't know. All different kinds of things. All at the same time. And he was talking about the Balenciaga situation, saying that he told Kim to stop shopping there and that it's like not a good place, which we'll come back in a second. And then all of a sudden, in December of 2022, he went missing. Like radio silent on social media. No one could find him. After he's been so kind of like in your face about all these things, like he's been like very open with the press. He talks to all these people. Now all of a sudden, quiet. Nothing. Well, when he reappeared in January of 2023, he was married to Bianca Censori, and he looked a lot different. He has been spotted doing some really weird things, like things that he wasn't doing before he went missing, such as like going out in public with no shoes on. Like a lot of times he'll go out in public. He has socks on, but he doesn't have any shoes on. He's just like out in public. He wears these like really large shoulder pads. And I don't know what that's about, but he'll wear like really tight like leggings basically. And he'll wear like a t-shirt and these giant shoulder pads. So the t-shirt kind of hangs baggy, but he's wearing leggings and then no shoes. And then he's also been sporting like just strange outfits just in general. But he's been found going off at the paparazzi, which his dad was a photojournalist, so he kind of understands and like I guess maybe a little bit more sympathy with paparazzi. And don't get me wrong, like I've never been followed by paparazzi, but I can just assume that it wouldn't be like really fun to be photographed constantly, especially having your kids photographed all the time. Like that's not fun. But yeah, he says like super paranoid things. Like, how did you guys find me? Like, who told you I was here? He's been going off at the paparazzi. It's very strange. His wife, Bianca, has been going out with like full face coverings on. When she was when they first were introduced as like husband and wife, that they're together, whatever, she didn't. Like, her face was just being shown. and she looked a lot like Kim, and everyone was like, oh, she looks kind of like her body kind of looked like Kim, but then people would say that her face looks like Pete Davidson. Well, now she goes out like sporting full face covers, like she can barely see, basically. Also, what's been very, very strange is that he has been spotted taking his brand new wife shopping at Balenciaga after he's the one that's saying, like, that has come out saying, like, I told Kim not to shop there, that, like, we're not supporting that. And now all of a sudden he's shopping at Balenciaga. I think that one of the biggest things, a big red flag here, is that Kim Kardashian herself said that the hardest part of their divorce is watching him become a different person. So now there are conspiracy theories about the Kardashian family. It's way, way too much for me to get into today on this episode. I think I'll cover that next week just because it ties into this episode, and I try to tie in episodes as much as I can. So I'll probably cover the Kardashian conspiracy, which might explain a little bit of what's going on with Kanye. But there's some weird things going on there. I don't know, like, was he replaced, or did he just, like, is he just having a mental break? Who knows? But something weird's going on there. Another person who has recently been changed, like visibly changed, is Jamie Foxx. Now, I could not find why they need to change him or clone him or get rid of Jamie Foxx. I couldn't figure it out. But he is in too many movies and too many shows right now for them to completely get rid of him, which is why they would have to potentially replace him, right? Well, in April of 2023, Jamie Foxx was hospitalized for an undisclosed reason. So it is none of our business why he was hospitalized. We really don't need to know people's personal medical history, and that's why HIPAA is a thing. If he does not want to tell the public why he was hospitalized, that's completely okay, and I think that we should 100% respect that decision. However, it's very strange. Dave Chappelle has shared some interesting thoughts on his mysterious illness, on Jamie Foxx's mysterious illness. Chappelle claims that no one in Hollywood just falls ill or like just becomes like incredibly ill like that. That every illness is meticulously planned and carried out. Now, when somebody's randomly hospitalized, like they say they have like, I don't know, like exhaustion or whatever, it's never that. And that's what Dave Chappelle is saying. And Chappelle himself lives in Ohio. He doesn't even live in Hollywood. And honestly, I don't know. There's some other things behind that, but we're not getting into that. So Jamie Foxx thought that somebody was attempting to kill him. Before he was hospitalized, he had this feeling that somebody was trying to kill him. Again, we don't know why they wanted to kill or replace him. But one thing is for certain, he does not look like he did when he went into the hospital. His skin color is much, much lighter, like much lighter. He's a pretty darker black guy. Pretty dark black guy. I don't know. I would say he's not a light-skinned black man. He's like a darker skinned black man. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but I'm trying to talk about his appearance, so you can't really like not talk about it. Anyway, and so his skin is much lighter, which again, you know, like people get pale when they get sick. So maybe he's just still like recovering. I don't know. We're going to get into that in just a second. But also his head shape seems a lot longer. Like he had a pretty, I mean, he wasn't like he had an oval shaped head to begin with. Again, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm trying to be like honest about what he appeared, because this is an audio option. I can't just like show you a picture and be like, see, this is what he looked like before. This is what he looks like now, because you can't see that. He has a much longer oval shaped head now. I don't know how else to explain that. So he has tried to spend time out of the limelight since the hospitalization, but he's been spotted in public here and there, just like doing whatever he's doing. But the thing is, like when he was in the hospital, the situation seemed to be so severe that all of his family flew in, and he described it as going to hell and back, and then the road back from hell had a bunch of potholes in it. That's how he described this illness. And then all of a sudden he's fine, like waving to fans as he boards yachts and gets into SUVs and like seems totally normal. But he's still this very pale color with a really long head. I don't know. Things aren't really, if you're trying to recover from a very, very serious illness, In my opinion, you're going to stay home as much as possible. You're going to rest as much as possible. You're going to try to get better, especially if you have like movies and TV shows and all those things coming out. You have to be present for. You can't just like disappear. Granted, I mean, you're in the hospital. That's totally a valid reason. But when you're healed up and you're like going on yachts, they're going to expect you to show up for these events as well. So I don't really know what's going on there, but he definitely does not look the same. But we have other celebrities. Like, this is not just a couple people. So you have Britney, which Britney's gone through a bunch of stuff lately, but there's a video of her going around where she's dancing. And at one point, she moves her hands like kind of up and over her face, and for a split second, it seems as though she is a different person. Like, her eyes don't have like mascara and eyeliner on, like they're completely like no makeup, bare skinned. But only for a split second. If you like slow down the video, it's like it's not Britney at all, but like somebody's wearing like a Britney filter, and the camera just like couldn't keep up with her movement over her face or something. It's very weird. But also some other things have been weird happening. So her husband posted a picture of them hiking, but was called out by a bunch of people that the photos were over a year old. And then he was like, no, these are new photos. And they're like, no, like you've posted these pictures before. We saw them before. Like, we've seen these same pictures posted a year prior. But he was trying to pass them off as like brand new, like we just went hiking. But Britney has been suspected of having clones since 2004. And she knew about it this whole time, which you wonder why she's gone off the deep end, right? So she released a song, Mona Lisa, behind her label's back in 2004. And the chorus goes like this, quote, "She's the original, she's unforgettable. She wants you to know she's been cloned. It's kind of incredible. She's so unpredictable. She wants you to know she's been cloned, she's been cloned, she's been cloned." That's the chorus. Like, and that she released behind her label's back. Her label would never have let her release this. And she was like, oh, we'll just slip it out there. And now it's out there. Some people even point to her very public meltdown in 2007 as another like piece of evidence. Because like, can you imagine you have a clone and you know about it, but you can't tell, like you can't tell anybody about it, and you have no idea like if they're going to use it, how they're going to use it, if they're going to get rid of you because you're not conforming. You'd probably have a breakdown too, right? Like, you'd have a full-on meltdown because you're like, they're going to kill me. Can you imagine like constantly living in fear that somebody's going to kill you? That would suck. I would have a meltdown. So now it is suggested that the clone does all the performances for Britney, that it's not Britney Spears, it's this clone, but the clone can't sing the way Britney could, and it's too noticeable. And so Maya Marie sings and the clone just lip syncs because Britney is gone. I don't know what's going on there. But I mean, B.O.B., the rapper B.O.B., tweeted a number of tweets trying to expose the cloning of celebrities. In 2015, he posted, quote, "I swear I don't want attention or money or fame no more, just to get the truth out. The truth you've been hidden from since birth," end quote. And then also, I mean, he tweeted a bunch of things. So here's another tweet. Quote, "They basically want to drip feed the truth about human cloning to us as if it's soon to come, but it's been here," end quote. So he was like out there saying, hey, they're cloning people, like this is happening all over the place. Everyone at the time was like, this must be a joke between DJs, like they must be like joking back and forth on Twitter because he was posting so much about it. But then like more digging seems like it might be more truth than fiction because we have all these people that are claiming or that are looking like they've been cloned. Earlier this year, Simon Cowell came out, there's a rumor that he died earlier this year. And then later, he uploaded a video promo for Britain's Got Talent, and he looked like the Wish version of Simon Cowell. So he did not look the same at all. Looked like a really bad drawing of Simon Cowell. His eyes were different, and his forehead, basically like from his nose up, he didn't look the same, but he does, but he doesn't. It's kind of hard to explain. His eyes look more droopy than they already were. Like his eyes naturally like kind of slant downwards. They look a lot more droopy. And also his eyelashes are darker, which again, like, how many people get fillers and I don't know, tint and all the different things on their eyelashes? I don't know. I don't do it. But like some people out there are getting fake eyelashes. Maybe Simon Cowell could have. Some people are saying that it's just like plastic surgery gone wrong. But when you have as much money as Simon Cowell does, even if you get like a bad surgery, you can go and get that surgery corrected. So like you wouldn't just look like a really bad version of yourself. You would get a corrective surgery, right? Well, after everyone was like, oh my gosh, who is this imposter? That's not actually Simon Cowell. He took the video down because there was just too much controversy about it. And the last one I'm going to include is Avril Lavigne, just because I found a couple things about her while I was researching like Britney and a couple different people. So I wanted to bring it up because, you know, it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up over and over and over. So I was like, well, can't ignore that. So Avril Lavigne is said to have committed suicide in 2003 after struggling with depression from her grandfather's death. But at the time, if you remember, Avril Lavigne was super popular. I was a kid and man, was I loving her. Like, lived for Avril Lavigne. I remember I got her CD for my 10th birthday and it was the best. We listened to it on repeat, I think, forever and ever and ever. But because she was so popular, they could not, like, they didn't want to get rid of her. She was making way too much money. She's making too many people too much money. So they just replaced her with Melissa Vandella, who I guess is like a doppelganger. She looks just like Avril Lavigne does. Well, people were noticing like changes in skin blemishes and moles. Like her handwriting was different. Her nose was different. Her style, like all these things were being noticed all of a sudden. Like there's this rumor that she died, but she's still around. And her style's completely different now. Like she was this tomboy who like wore pants and, you know, like suspenders, and she looked really cool. She was a skater girl. And then all of a sudden, like she came out with Girlfriend, and like, you know, she's still kind of punk rocky, but like wearing more dresses or more skirts and like looking a little, I mean, I still enjoyed the song Girlfriend because I was a kid, but it was not the same Avril Lavigne. And I mean, at the time, of course, I was a kid. So I was like, oh, maybe she just like changed her style of music. Like, I don't know. But there's definitely something weird happening there. So because that was brought up so many times, I brought her into this episode as well. I think that there are plenty of celebrities and famous people that they have either cloned or replaced that I didn't even include in this episode. Like plenty of them. And I would love to hear if you guys can think of like another celebrity right off the top of your head. You're like, yep, that person, or another famous person. It doesn't just have to be a celebrity. It could be, I mean, anybody, right? But I'm still so curious, like, why are they replacing people? Like, why keep Kanye around? Is it just because like his, not necessarily him, but his clone, but is it because of his, relationship with the Kardashian family? Like Britney, it makes sense, and Avril Lavigne makes sense because at the time when they were replaced, they were making so much money for so many other people that they needed the money still, or they didn't need it, but they wanted the money. So they're like, well, we can't afford to lose the money coming in from this person. I mean, I don't know why they even needed to replace Jamie Foxx. I understand that like he's making a lot of money, but what was he doing that was causing them to be like, we don't like him anymore, let's get rid of him? You know what I'm saying? I have more questions. And Simon Cowell, like what was he doing? Like what was he doing that was so bad that they're like, yep, he's got to go? Or was it because they were planning on exposing something that they really shouldn't expose? I don't know. There's a lot of things. I'm surprised they haven't replaced Jim Carrey yet, because he's out there constantly like exposing and saying things that you think would be pretty controversial, but they still let him live for now. So we'll see where that goes. But of course, my friends, until next week, stay skeptical, and I will see you all very soon. Hey friends, The Rabbit Hole is an independent podcast with everything you hear done by me, Danny Mercy. I appreciate all of your support. Please rate and review wherever you're listening. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at rabbit.holepodcast. And thank you, Zakar Valaha, for our awesome intro.